Today we are putting up a DX Commander, and we've left the pole over there.
One moment.
Let's redo the shot. The most important part of the entire build.
Does that take two?
Yeah, take two. The most important part of the entire build. We're putting up a 12.4 signature DX Commander today. So it's a contest this weekend, the RD contest here in VK.
It is.
And you want to see what a vertical operates like out here.
I've never used a vertical on HF. Not being much of an HF guy, I'm really keen to see what one works.
And a couple of years ago, I used my DX Commander Classic and ended up winning the contest. And no doubt some of my HF score helped towards that. We were just having a read through the manual. Make sure, that's the other thing, is make sure that if you are building this, that you print out the manual, because it's very comprehensive.
It is very comprehensive.
And what were you saying? You were saying that there's been a lot of thought put into this kit.
Yeah, look, I'm really impressed with just the documentation. It's sort of not like a lot of things you buy. The documentation is very patchy, but there's a lot of work being put, a lot of thought being put into it, which is great.
Yeah, like there's, well, not.
It'll make us look really bad if we can't make it.
Yeah, we'll do. There's a lot of bits in here that that Cal provides, so we're going to put it all together today. And we're also we've made this as well. You've made this, which is a hinge, which we're going to use so that we can lower and erect this antenna a little bit easier. So we'll show how this operates when we get it over in the antenna field. So we've just unpacked it out. It's a long one, isn't it?
It's pretty long.
So yeah, the signature 12.4, you don't really get a sense of actually how long it is until you pull it out.
Stretch it out, yeah.
What we did was we pulled out each section, and you got to give it a nice...
pull and twist.
Pull and twist, give it a nice tug. I'm sure there's a joke in there somewhere. Measure each section, they should be approximately about the same length. So just double check that. So we're going to get the tape measure out and just double check that. We have fully extended this out. We're going to fit some clamps so that they don't collapse. So we're just pointing out, we're just making up the ground plate now, so putting the SO239 on. One of the things which is good is that in these bags, we've got a little parts list, and it's been checked here. It looks like it's been checked by Wendy. It'll be checked by Wendy or Loki, or Callum might check the odd bag or two, I think. But it's got all of the quantities in here, so you can go and count them out. And what we've done is we've got a couple of little yellow tubs here so that we can put all the nuts, screws, bolts, washers so that we don't lose them. First thing we're going to do is put all of the screws and the bolts into the plates first, because it's easiest, rather than doing it later. And then we're going to slot these onto the pole, and we'll start to secure it down. Now, I can't stress enough that you really should read the manual. So what we did was, I read it the other day, but we just read it this morning, had an overview of it. We're not going to rush this build. We're just going to take our time with it. But if there's anything in doubt, read the manual. And if you don't understand it, then read it again, because it is very detailed. And the way that it's structured is the first 3 to 15 pages, they are all apply to all kits.
Yep.
And then the specific kit information, so we've got the signature 12, so that's further down, and then there's also building tips toward the end, which will help just in general build. So
yeah, it's very easy to get the wrong impression sometimes if you read it sort of quickly. But
and there's diagrams, there's all sorts of stuff in here. So yeah, we're going to take our time in reading this. So when you're building your antenna, make sure that you just take your time, and you'll end up with a very good build. Explain to us what we're looking at.
So basically, this is the radial, the ground radial plate, which obviously is connected to the base of that with all the wing nuts and the washers. This is obviously the common plate for the driven elements, which is obviously going to sit like that, which is going to obviously connect to there.
And sit on top of the, or sit at the bottom of the pole.
Yeah, so don't know whether you've seen one of these before?
Yeah, I got one of those.
Okay, right. So
it's not as schmick as that one, but
now wing nuts up.
Make sure your nuts are always up. You don't want to.
Don't want them down.
We're just saying this is like a game of operation, and I'm failing badly.
Beep.
Yeah, I know.
Beep.
She's a snug one.
Well, you can always take a bit.
There we go. You got to be a bit slower with these things.
Yeah.
You got to take.
I tried not to take too much out. I just took
You got
a little rag off the edge.
Look at that.
Beautiful.
You got to take them.
So now we just got to line that one up.
Yep, with the SO239. Show this. There we go. So now we've got our radial plate here at the bottom, which is sitting with our SO239. This is going to come up on top of there, and then we've got our elements. Elements are going to come here, and that sits quite snug.
Quite snugly, and then we'll just put our hose clamp against the bottom of that to maintain
rigidity.
Yeah, one of them.
These are the newer style of plates that Callum provides, which these are, I don't think you could get even more, you couldn't get any more precision if you tried.
No, that's awfully flash.
Yeah, so these are the PT, I don't know what the material is. I'll put it, when I find out what it is and I remember, it's off the top of my head. It's not PTFE. I think it is, maybe it is PTFE.
No, it'd be like something like an ABS maybe?
Yeah. And this is designed to last, well, here in Australia in our summer, the UV cooks things, doesn't it?
Our sun is pretty punishing, yes.
It is pretty punishing. Like even today, it's in winter, it's only 16 degrees, but man, oh man, it's warm out here at the moment.
Yeah.
So, okay, we're gonna put this on. We've put the bottom plates on, that's all good. So what happens is these slot down over the pole, and it obviously goes from the largest plate through to the smallest plates. So to the bottom and then gradually up to the top.
Obviously align it too with the
we align them
profile
up
of the plate, yep.
And then what happens is we get these what's he calling these? Herbie clips?
Call them Herbie
Not
clips.
Herbie clips.
Made
Hose
of,
clamps.
Made of PA66 nylon.
Yeah, these are hose clamps. So these have also replaced the hose clamp with the
drive clamps.
Yeah, with the tube. So we used to on my old DX Commander Classic antenna, and I've done a build video on that as well. They were using plastic like
just
garden
worm drive hose clamps.
Yeah,
with pieces of PVC tubing over the outside
to just stop it from crushing. But these are much better because these still provide the force that you need, but they won't crush it, and they're a lot easier. And you just pop in the little screw nut straight in, and you can start tightening it up. So
do it by hand, yeah.
Now these go on the top of each section so that the section doesn't collapse in on itself.
Oh, so it doesn't drop inside.
Yep. So we're going to go and put all of those on, and then once we've done all that, we're probably at the time where we'll start to look at our guy wires and our plate here to put that up.
I think that's where it needs to be.
Cut.
Cut. Put the screwy bit in first. What I do is now cut that rather the clicker's in that position.
Are we all the way down? Oh yeah.
There we go.
So what we've done is we've fitted all of our spreader plates, and we've made sure that everything's all aligned. As we mentioned before, put your hose clamp below the plate, but just above the join or the section where that is there, and tighten them all up, and we've done that. So now we're going to go over and put this in our proposed location for the antenna. Got a little bit of whippage.
Bit of droop.
A little bit of whippage.
About round the outside, round the outside.
Round the outside.
Probably need some longer bolts. That might be a mission to Bunno's.
So, yep. Oh, there's a bit of weight in that, isn't there?
Oh, yeah.
She's a big beast. I can only imagine this at my place. Wow.
You need an 18 metre one at your place.
18, oh my goodness. Imagine the 18 metre pole.
Wow, what's on a 6 on top? That's insane. What do you mean?
It's not that tall, what are you talking about? So, what we've done is we've put our little hinge system here that Tricky's made, which is just a bit of PVC with a little hinge plate. It's going to sit quite nicely on top of that, and then we're going to run our radial wires from here down onto the grass. We've got some radial pins to put onto the grass as well. All of our wires are going to come off the top here. We use this so that we can hinge it. There's a fair bit of weight in that, so it'll come in handy to have the hinge. And up we go.
Yeah.
We've got to get the guy wires on now, so we're going to use it, guy it from the third spreader, and run guy wires out 120 degrees each way over here, and then hopefully we'll have a nice sturdy pole and we can start to put some wires on.
Nice sturdy erection.
Nice sturdy erection. It's looking good.
What have we done?
Let's go and have a look.
So to channel some Jeremy Clarkson, I did a thing.
I did a thing!
I did a thing.
So what we're doing is we're leveling things off at the moment just so it looks good.
It sort of looks pretty reasonable. I think
Yeah.
that one could go a smidgen. That one could go a smidgen. I reckon that bottom one's okay. So I might just put a bit more on this one.
So what we've done is we've got our three 120 degree guys. We decided to put some carabiners on because it would be just a lot easier to raise and lower as we're adjusting. So we've got those spaced out roughly at 120 degrees. The other one's over there, one down there. And the other thing that we did was we had a spare hose clamp. So what we've done is we put that hose clamp underneath the bottom there. So what that tube basically does is slot straight up the middle of the DX Commander pole. You undo the bottom rubber bung, and we put that hose clamp there just so it sits nicely on top of that. You want to make sure that you get it all set up without the wires so you're not messing around, so that it's nice and taut and not going to fall over basically. And I think we're looking pretty good.
I think we're not looking too bad.
I mean, we're even getting the level out here. This is how.
Well, that's in the direction of that guy.
Yep.
That's in the direction of that guy.
Yeah, we're good there.
And that's in the direction of that guy.
Yeah.
I don't know.
So I think
old school touching the line. I think we're good.
I think we're good. We could probably put a second set of guys. So there are extra holes in this plate here and also the bottom plate further down here if you want to guy it there. Looking good in the back. Looking good in the background of all the other antennas. Looks like it fits. Fits in nicely.
You would never know.
You'd never know. We've had to retreat inside while we had a slight shower, but basically what we're doing is we're cutting our elements. So we're going to do that inside. We started on the 80 metre element because we wanted to do that one first, and we've also got a coil that we need to wind about halfway up the antenna. So we decided while it's raining we're going to cut the rest of the elements.
Yep.
So we're just taking some time to read through the instructions. So yeah, if you're building the antenna, make sure you read through the instructions because there's a couple of concepts which it just takes a couple of times just to make sure that you understand them, which we're doing, and we're going to...
We'll pay dividends.
Yes. Okay, so what we're doing now is we're winding the 80 metre coil on the signature, and we're up to about 80 turns. This is the loading coil for 80. We've made this our stopper knots here for our coil
Holding of the tension.
To tension it in. So we're going to do 100 and so according to the cut charts here, or the coil charts which Callum does provide, our 80 metre band goes down to about 3.5 megs, up to 3.7 roughly.
Yep.
So we generally cut for about 3.6 in between. So we roughly calculate about 117 turns or so. So we're up to 80 turns. We've got another 37 odd to go.
37 to go.
Agent 99. 100.
100.
100
turns of wire
100
on
turns.
the pole.
And what we've been doing is just been going along. We do 20 turns at a time, and then we just tape it just to hold it all in place.
In case we have an oops, then we're only going to lose the last 20.
Yeah, to make it a little bit more manageable. And this coil, the bottom of the coil is approximately, it was 7.7 meters up from the base plate, wasn't it?
It was.
But all of those instructions are all in the manual. So we found that soldering the wire onto the fork connectors is the way to go. We've also got a couple of the beads for the frequency or the band, and a bit of heat shrink.
The heat shrink. It's always very important to have enough heat when you're shrinking heat shrink, isn't it? Always say you can never have too much heat.
It's a little bit of overkill, isn't it? Some people use a heat gun, not a butane torch.
Heat gun.
That's for amateurs. We're not amateurs, are we?
Heat guns for people that don't have butane torches.
Heat guns for something that we're not allowed to say on this channel. What is it? Measure once, cut twice?
Depending on how many spares you have.
It was definitely 3. Yes, it was definitely 3.9 metres.
3.9? Okay.
I just checked it.
So this is 17 metres?
This is 17 metres, and we're just loosely, we've just got them loose here at the moment as we do each one, and then we're going to go up and tension them one at a time. But we had to double check our measurements because we didn't want to make a mistake. So all of the cutting chart here, the 12.4, all of these are the measurements that you cut it at. You don't add any extra, you don't take any off. That is the metric cutting chart. So we operate in metric here, but it also is in imperial. So we've got all of our elements on now. We put these little beads on too, which indicate the bands as well, so that we know which one's which. So we've gone and we've tensioned these out. We've just used some electrical tape where we've gone and done the loops here and the shock cord all the way to the top of the plates. We've run all the way, all bands all the way up to 80 meters, and here's our coil halfway along the 12.4 signature pole, and then that runs all the way up to the end of the antenna there. So we're going to see how this goes. We're going to put it up back into place, and the good thing is that we've done all the hard work now, so we just need to make a couple of radials, which Tricky is currently doing in the garage right now. So once we've made, how many radials? We made 7 bunches of radials. Seven bunches at 5 meters long. We've got the bunches sitting over there on the ground. Basically, we want about a wavelength, at least a wavelength at the lowest frequency, and the lowest frequency is 80 meters. So we want to put at least a wavelength down. So that's what we're going to do. Put this up there, put it onto the SWR analyzer, antenna analyzer, and see how it goes. So I reckon you're going to be very impressed with this antenna, Tricky.
Hope so.
Here come the goats. Are you good to walk it up?
Yeah, I think so.
Oh, one person action. There we go. Look at that.
Better put the bolt in.
Come over and have a look. Like I bought one. There we go. We're up and running.
I will get the radial wires.
We'll put some radial wires down, chuck the VNA on and see what she looks like. All right, we've just come inside, and 80 meters we're looking at, we're a little bit high in frequency on 80 meters. Yeah, so we've got a perfect tune at 3.77, but we want to be down at sort of 3.6. Yeah, about 3.6 odd. So we're a little bit off there, 6 to 1. That's probably not going to bring the tuner's not going to bring that in, but that's okay. We can tune that out. But when we get up to about 3.8 there, it's very good. Next up is we'll go to the next range up and we'll go to 40 metres. 40 metres is lowest at about 7.2, which is almost perfect. 7.2?
7.2.
That's good.
Yep.
10 megs, let's go up to there. 10 megs is also very much dependent on 80 because it's a 3/4 wave, I think, on 10 megs. Or let's have a look here. So it's a little bit low in frequency, about 9.9. But what will happen is once we trim it, then we'll be good. Let's go now and have a look at what's next. 20 metres. That's up at 14 point. So we're sitting at about 14.1. About 14.1. We can pull that in with a tuner, but again, I reckon we just need to make that a little bit shorter. To bring it up in frequency.
So that's a trim on that one. Some of the 80 metre one, obviously, we just need to increase that coil.
Then we're going to 18 megs. 18, we're a little bit low again, so yeah, it needs to be shortened again. It's good though because we left plenty of length, so we can adjust those. So 17.9 megs there. Let's go up to 15 metres, so about 1.4, about 1.4. We'll go now to 12 metres. We're sitting pretty sharp there on 12. 1.5, about 1.5 there. Again, we can tweak that. And then we get up to 10 metres, which I need to go to the next scale. 10 metres, 20, it was around about 28.2, yeah, about 28.2, a little bit higher, 28.3. The other thing that was also pretty cool was if we go all the way up here to
6 metres.
6 metres, it's 1-to-1 at 52.7. So it might be a good vertical for FM to use that.
Yeah,
and
52.5, correct.
Even at 140 megs, which is up here, 2 metres, we've got 148, it's 1-to-1, but down at about 146.5, it's 1.5-to-1. So it's usable. So yeah, I think just a couple of adjustments.
Yeah, that's pretty impressive.
It's just sitting out there in the field, and just a couple of tweaks, and we'll be sweet. So I'm pretty happy with that. That's requires a little bit of tweaking. Obviously, we need to go back up here and cut a few of these lines off. We need to also put some heat shrink on where we put the electrical tape. Yep. But initial tune seems like it's coming up okay.
Pretty much.
And
yeah,
your radio, what's your radio?
9100.
9100.
9100.
The 9100's tuning it up. So for the contest, I reckon we'll run it like that. And then we can come back later on and we can
do a little bit of fine tweaking.
So yeah, you got to be what? Got to be happy with that.
Got to be happy with that.
got to be happy with that. Whilst Tricky just puts on some coax protection tape to make sure the water doesn't get in, check out some of my other videos on the DX Commander that I've done. I've done some on radials. I've done the DX Commander Classic build. There's quite a few of them. They'll appear here over on the screen. So we're really, really happy with this. And I hope he wins. I hope he wins the contest. Do you reckon he'll win?
Hope so. Hope our team does.
Hope our team, yes, okay.